Okay, let's look at exponential equations. Probably the best way to understand exponential equation is to look at a bunch of examples. All right, so let's do that. All right, so first one, you have 7 to the x squared is equal to 7 to the 2x plus 3. And we want to solve this equation for x. All right, so let's do that. Right, since you have the same bases on both sides, so we have to make sure to match the powers. So this is going to imply, implies that x squared, which is the power from the left hand side, must be equal to the power from the right hand side, so which is 2x plus 3. All right, now this is just a quadratic equation, so we can put 2x on this side. So maybe I'll say I'm gonna move 2x on this side and 3 onto the other side, and then solve it. All right, so you have x squared was already there, right? So in order to move 2x to the other side, we subtract 2x from both sides, right? So we have minus 2x, right? Similarly, we want to move 3 to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So you have minus 3, right? So since we moved everything from the right hand side, so right hand side is now 0. Alright, then we can factor this out. So x squared minus 2x minus 3 can be factored out as quantity x. Alright, so let's see. So this has to be equal to 0. Right? So we have to make negative 3 by multiplying these two numbers. So it's going to be, it's probably 1 and 3. So 1 and 3. Right? Then the sum has to be negative 2, which means that we have to put the negative sign on 3 and a positive sign on 1. Alright, so positive 1 times negative 3 gives you negative 3, which is good. And positive 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2, so it works out. Alright, so in order to make this product equal to 0, we can set each one equal to 0. Right? So from here, setting x plus 1 equal to 0. So obviously x is going to be negative 1. So x is going to be negative 1. Right? By setting x minus 3 equal to 0, x is positive 3. Right? So those are the x values that we were looking for. Right? So that's first example. Right? So let's look at the second example. Right? This time we have a matching powers. So power 5 on both sides. Right? Since powers are matching, so we have to make sure to match the bases. So this is going to imply, right? So 1 minus x must be equal to 2x minus 1, right? So setting the bases equal to each other. All right, so I'll try to put all that a term that has x on the left. So I'm gonna put this guy, move this guy on this side, and I'm gonna move 1 on the other side. All right, so we can do that by subtract 2x from both sides first. All right. So there's a negative x already here. If you subtract 2x, you're going to have minus negative 3x. All right. All right. Since we subtract 1 from, we have to move 1 to the other side, so we have to subtract 1. So 1's gone. So you have -1 already sitting here. Then you subtract 1. So it's going to be -2. It's going to be on the right hand side. Alright, now we can just get rid of -3 in front of x simply by dividing through by -3. Right? So that will give you x is equal to, right, -2 divided by -3 would be 2/3, right? Because negative signs cancel out. Alright, so this is x equals 2/3 is the value of x. Alright, so that's the second example. Alright, so let's look at the third example. Alright, this is a little different, but here's the equation. X squared times e to the x minus 5x times e to the x is equal to 0. Alright, any other, just like any other algebraic equation, what you can do is factor out common factors. There are actually quite a few factors we can find that are in common. So you can see that here there's e to the x in both terms on the left hand side, and also there's x here. And there's x here. Actually, there are two of them. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna circle this right here. All right. So x is in common. So just factor out common factors. So x is in common, as we said. All right. And e to the x is also in common. All right. So let's see what's left. All right. From the first term, e to the x is factored out here, right? And one of the x is factored out here. So you have, there are two x's because they're x squared. So there's another x from the first term. So you have that because x and x gives you x squared, all right? And here, this x is factored out here. And e to the x is already factored here. So what's left is -5. So you have a -5. It's right there. And is equal to 0. All right. Then remember that e to the x, so exponential function, the range is all positive real numbers, which means that exponential function is never 0 and also never negative. So this guy right here is always greater than 0, right? Which means that there's no chance for this guy to make the whole thing equal to 0 because it has to become 0, but this guy is never 0. So what you can do is, since we can ignore, since it's always positive, we can divide this guy through by e to the x, right? So if you do that, e to the x is gone. So you have x times x minus 5 quantity is equal to 0. All right. This one is fairly easy to solve. So setting x equal to 0, so x equals 0 is one of the solutions. And we can set x minus 5 equal to 0, which gives us 5. Right? So x equals 0 and x equals 5, the x values that we were looking for. All right, so those are the examples of exponential equations. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.